Yep, everything else. So, we good? Thanks for coming out. Sorry I'm a few minutes late, but a whirlwind of a day. Was in Miami for lunch today on a recruiting visit and got off a plane, came straight to the facility, had a 1-hour staff meeting, finished that about 5 minutes before our end of the year awards ceremony started, walked right into that, and literally just walked off the stage from handing out awards about 5 minutes ago. So bowl-wise, you guys probably know about much more than I do right now, than we're going to Charlotte and playing North Carolina. But appreciate everybody being here on a Sunday night, and certainly we've had a busy week of recruiting, without a doubt, and about to get started with another busy week. This week coming up will be our last week on the road until signing day. Our players start exams this week, so wish all of them well with exams. They lifted weights a couple days last week, exams this week, and then we'll get started with practice probably now that everything's finalized. Looks like it'll be next Monday will be the first day that we practice, so a week from tomorrow, and excited about it. First of all, excited for the bowl game. I think a lot of the people in Charlotte and have heard amazing things about this trip. I've never been myself, but was just in Charlotte on Friday night for an event with my dad and the Atlantic Coast Conference where he was being honored. You know, there was a lot of energy about Gamecock football in Charlotte on Friday night when I was up there, and a lot of excitement about the possibility of us being there. So now that it's a reality, we're really excited about the opportunity to go and to compete against a great team like the University of North Carolina and a great coach like Mack Brown. You know, just add it to the number of coaches that, you know, we've played this year that have either played for or won a national championship. You know, Jimbo Fisher a few weeks ago, Dabo Swinney last week, Kirby played for or coached and won at Georgia, and Mack Brown is obviously a legend in this profession. He went into the College Football Hall of Fame the same year that my dad did. So we spent some time together in New York City. Whenever that was, 2017, 18, I believe, when they both went into the Hall of Fame. So it'll somebody that I have a lot of respect for, and looking forward to getting up there and the bowl prep, and it'll be a great opportunity for us to go play in Charlotte. I know it's going to be a fantastic atmosphere, fantastic environment, two proud fan bases, and I hope our fan base is excited about the opportunity to go to a bowl game for the first time since 2018. For the first time since 2018. I know we were very attractive to a lot of bowl games based on my conversations with Coach Tanner over the last week. And Dr. Pastides, we were attractive to a lot of bowl games because of the excitement and the energy about this program right now, because of the way that our fans will travel. Bowl games know that. So we appreciate them because that went a long way, I know, for us being selected to go to Charlotte. And looking forward to getting up there. Proud of our team. You know, I was just talking to him about it at our awards dinner. It was literally 1 year ago tonight. A lot of you guys were in Lexington, Kentucky, watching Carolina play Kentucky, and news broke at the end of that game, I believe, that I was going to be the next head football coach here. And it was during that game that Coach Tanner called me and asked me. I never forget it. He said, "Are you ready to do this?" And I told him I've been waiting to hear you say that for a long, long time. And to think about coming into this facility that very next day and talking to the team down in the indoor facility, and for it to be literally 1 year ago today that I got offered the job, and here we are, we're bowl eligible in year one, 6 wins with the opportunity to get 7, 5 come from behind wins. This season, wins over Auburn and Florida. It's been, you know, not the end goal because we have higher goals and 6 wins in bowl eligibility, but it's a heck of a start for this program in year one, and I couldn't be more excited about the future. So with that, I'll be glad to take any questions you guys have.
Shane, have you talked with any players yet about, opt-outs, guys who might be planning to stay out, or anybody that might have gotten a new injury and won't be able to play?
Yeah, nothing final yet, David. I met with some of those guys last Sunday. After the Clemson game, I met with some of those guys that afternoon, and I had 8 to 10 meetings with some guys this past Wednesday when in between recruiting trips. Just guys that, seniors that have another year because they're not a super senior, guys that have NFL decisions to make. Based on my conversations last week, nobody had made any, final decisions in regards to leaving. Some guys that have opportunities to leave that have told me that they're staying, which I'm excited about. And I told those guys, let's just get through the first week, which is last week. Let's get through exams, and then we'll circle back here, in a couple weeks when it's not as fresh off the Clemson game. So nothing to report right now, but certainly trying to help a lot of these guys along in the decision-making process.
Shane, we hear all the time, get those 15 extra practices. It's going to be so beneficial, this, and that. How much is that beneficial in terms of looking for the future, and what advantages does that have outside of, all right, it's 15 extra practices?
Yeah. A lot. It's 15 extra practices, so in a lot of ways it's almost like an extra spring practice in a lot of ways. I believe just, on the plane going down to Miami this afternoon or this morning, just kind of jotting it out. I believe we're going to get nine practices in Columbia alone before we even get to Charlotte, so we'll be heavy into all North Carolina prep by that point, but we've got the opportunity to have 9 practices just here in Columbia before we go up there, and it's really beneficial. We got a lot of young players that just need reps to continue to get better as a football player. Whether it be a guy that is a young guy that played meaningful snaps this year, like a Juju McDowell, or whether it's a older guy, or a younger guy that didn't play but we have high hopes for, TJ Sanders. Just to be able to get those guys some extra work and develop them and be able to spend some extra time with them, it's huge. And then just continuing to develop the team. There's not a lot of guys. If you look at the super seniors that we had, we didn't have a ton. And if you look at the seniors, some of them certainly won't come back, but the bulk of that senior class, I think, is going to come back. And it's just an opportunity to get these young guys better, but then also let's continue to build these other guys, because the bulk of the team that's going to be out there practicing in December, the bulk of that team is going to be back next year, especially offensively, I think. And then just we've got some great players leaving out of here up front on defense, and it's an opportunity to get some of these younger guys and bring them along. Boogie Huntley, Tonka Hemingway, a lot of these young D linemen that we have, and defensive ends with the group that we have there that are older guys. So it's really beneficial for a lot of reasons. And then just selfishly, the opportunity to be with this team. It's a fun group to be around, and just the opportunity to coach them for another month, I'm excited about.
Shane, kind of on the subject of guys practicing and when, is there any thought of having any mid-year enrollees come in time for bowl practices? Is that something you guys have figured out yet, if at all?
Yeah, we haven't. Still a work in progress. Nothing that we're saying is set in stone or planned on right now. We're trying to figure out, get to signing day and who's signing, and then figuring it out from there.
Shane, you obviously were on the road recruiting a lot this week. What's been the message, and where do you feel like you are right now with this 2022 class?
Yeah, the road has been great. Been on a lot of trips and a lot of different places. Hard to keep track of one day to the next with where all we've been, but it's been fantastic, and it's been pretty cool getting out on the road. I'll be honest with you. I'm isolated in this building during the season and don't talk to a whole lot of people other than my wife and kids and high school recruits and whatnot. So being able to get out and hear so many people that just stopped and congratulated us on the season that we had and the way that we played, really cool. Just hearing from other college coaches that I bumped into, or high school coaches that talked about the effort we play with and the fight that our guys play with and the passion that our guys play with. That makes you proud to hear that as a coach. And then the message has just been that we're just getting started. A lot of these guys were here in attendance at that Auburn and Florida game, and they saw in the Clemson game, and they saw the atmosphere and they saw the environment, or they watched it on TV. And being able to tell those guys that we're just getting started. It's just the beginning, and we're building this thing. And year one was a great year one for us from a foundation standpoint. It's a great opportunity to come in and help us elevate this program, because we're not far away, in my opinion. So that's been the message. I was at the state championship games here in Columbia this past weekend as well, and just hearing from a lot of people at those as well, other high school coaches or fans that stopped me in the stands. It was nice, and we certainly appreciate the great comments from fans, high school coaches, high school recruits, and it's been a fun week on the road, and looking forward to getting back out. I'll leave out of here early. I was, like I said, gone today, and then leave out of here early tomorrow morning, and full speed ahead.
Hey Shane, with this being the first bowl game for most of the guys on this roster, is there anything different you have to do to prepare them for all the extra practices, or maybe just the mentality of playing in an extra game, or how do you go about that as you get ready for bowl prep?
Yeah, good question. I mean, it'll be my first bowl game as a head coach and a lot of that stuff. So, I mean, this past week when I've had downtime on airplanes and things like that, being able to just kind of jot down thoughts and jot down preliminary schedules. And, you want to make it rewarding for these guys, but there's also work to be done because you're trying to win a football game. So balancing, the reward of it versus the you don't want it to be like a complete grind like preseason camp all over again necessarily either. But we'll talk to our players about the mentality of it as we get into it. It's a long time to get ready for one game, so you certainly have to balance that and make sure there's a fine line there. But we'll get them through exams, and then we'll reconvene next week and start practice and be able to get more into that, just talking about it. But like anything, it's keep the main thing, and understand why we're going to Charlotte. And we want them to have fun and enjoy themselves, but also we got to do everything in our power to make sure that we're ready to play our very best on December 30th against a really good team that I've had a chance to watch on television a few times this year.
We all need to have a few practices before you have a feel about the quarterback plans for the game, or do you feel like that's kind of
I'll be honest. I wish I'm not lying. That's nothing that we've even talked about since the Clemson game, as far as what we're doing, who the quarterback's going to be, and all that stuff. Obviously, Jason is disappointed with the way that he played, and it didn't really go well for anybody, that night. So we'll get out there and we'll compete, and it's nothing. Literally, I mean, we had the game, we had a team meeting on that Sunday, and then hit the road recruiting. So this afternoon at 4:00 when we had a staff meeting was the first time that we've all been together since last Sunday morning when we met as a staff. So we'll hash all that out and kind of figure out where everybody is at all positions as we get in the bowl prep.
Shane, you spoke about what happened a year ago today. Have you had time to truly reflect on the last year of your life, how it's changed both professionally, personally, everything in between? Or is that something that you'll do once this bowl game is wrapped and finished and everything?
Yeah, probably a little bit more after the bowl game. I mean, certainly you're always thinking about as it goes, you're making notes and thinking about how you can be better, as a coach and as a program each and every day. I've certainly had times to certainly think about how fortunate I am to be in this role and the year that we've had. I mean, after the night we beat Florida and the night we beat Auburn, certainly, both those nights I went home. I had some family and friends in town and thought I'd get to my house after I finished the TV show, and it'd be after midnight, and we'd have a heck of a celebration. And I think both nights I got home and everybody had gone to bed when I got home. So I was too keyed up after the game, so I sat up late by myself. I think it was the Florida game. Auburn, some people stayed up. But after the Florida game, I certainly, thought about it, what a great win that was. But then your mind that night immediately goes back to, okay, we got to get ready to go beat Missouri right now. So you allow yourself some moments like that, but then it's right back to the task at hand. And right now we finished the Clemson game, and then it's immediately task at hand is recruiting and the 2 weeks of recruiting. And let's get these guys signed as we approach signing day. And what does our roster look like in the bowl game? Does somebody decide not to play in the bowl game? What does our roster look like after the season? Does somebody decide to leave early for the NFL draft, whatever it may be? So you're thinking about all those things, and so there's a lot going on, right now for sure. So I've had a little bit of time, but I'll really dive into that more after the season when I sit back and certainly reflect, but also think about how to continue to move this program forward.
You expect all the current assistant coaches to be with you for the bowl game in their current role?
Yes.
Shane, 2 questions for you. First, obviously your name's kind of been out there a little bit. There's a current job opening. Have you had any contact with any Oklahoma administrative officials? And then 2, on the field, where's the focus with these next 15 practice before you guys played North Carolina?
Yeah. No, I did not have any direct contact with anyone. You know, what I told you guys that day when I got asked about Virginia Tech, that wasn't just specific to Virginia Tech. I mean, that was anywhere, and there's nowhere else. There's nowhere else I want to be. Want to be here. Want to be the head football coach here, and talk to the golf coach at Oklahoma because he's one of my best friends. But so I guess technically I talked to somebody at Oklahoma, the golf coach. But beyond that, no, nobody. And the former women's basketball coach, Coach Cole, reached out to me, but nobody directly about what you're referring to. And then you said the focus of practices. Yeah, just trying to continue to get us better and develop some young guys. We got to continue to develop depth at a lot of positions and just make our team better. You know, we figure let's be more figure out how we can be more consistent. You know, in all three phases and how do we play against North Carolina like we played against Florida and Auburn in a lot of ways, and that's really the focus. Get our team better, get each player better individually, and then let's figure out, you know, how we can be more efficient in all three phases here in this bowl game as well. And like I said a minute ago, hard work, but also let's enjoy this as well because these guys earned it, and bowl games are a reward. I mean, we talked about it in our team meeting last week. I mean, there's a lot of schools, a lot of name brand programs across college football whose seasons are over right now and aren't going to bowl games. So I'll never take going to a bowl game for granted, and we're certainly, this is a reward, and we're going to enjoy it because our guys have definitely earned it with everything they've been through.
Jane, I gotta ask, have you given it a thought if you're gonna get dunked by the Mayo if you guys win? Is that something you've been able to give any thought yet?
I haven't, and I guess, is that the thing?
I think that's it's like, I think it's $10,000. Is that right, Steve?
Oh God. Well, I'm not a big mayonnaise guy. I mean, I'll gladly take one for the team on that one if it means we won a football game. But yeah, Chance Miller mentioned that to me at dinner tonight, and that was kind of the first time I'd heard of it because I literally jumped off a plane, so I really hadn't been on social media a whole lot today to figure out the ins and outs of that one. But if it means we win a football game and get a 7th win, then I'll do whatever I need to do.
I'm not sure if you've gotten a chance to talk with them a lot yet, but what have the conversations between you and Marcus been like moving through this season, and what have you and him talked about in terms of what you guys can do or what needs to change offensively to be more efficient? Yeah,
I think those are certainly things that we'll really dive into as we get into bowl prep for sure. You know, I was with Marcus, been with most of our coaches, but Marcus and I were together on 2 or 3 trips this past week, recruiting trip-wise, Georgia, Pennsylvania, and here locally one day. So certainly there's some times, in the car, but we're usually around other coaches and things like that. But, early on, it's just we got to be more efficient. We got to be more consistent and operate at a higher level. There's no denying that. And that's in every area. We've got to be better in all areas, starting with me. But as far as the specifics, really, I mean, it really has been, I'm not trying to dodge the question, it really has been such a whirlwind with recruiting. I mean, that's the focus. And you understand that you have a football program to run, but the focus has been recruiting this past week and will be this week. And we're all competitors, and we all know that we need to be better, without a doubt.
I know the coaching carousel is just starting to get going, but have you had coaches or have you had other schools come to you about your assistant coaches, and have you had to convince any of those guys to stick around? I haven't
had to convince anyone yet. I'm not naive. I'm sure there's people that are reaching out, to our coaches. We've got some fantastic coaches on this staff, and I haven't had to convince anyone to stay here yet. I'm sure it'll happen at some point because we got good coaches and other colleges, or other coaches know that for sure. But we've got a lot of guys on this staff that we want to make this a fantastic place to work, a fantastic place to live. I think we have. And we got a lot of guys on this staff that, like they've told you guys before, want to be here and are excited about being here and understand, what where we're going and what we can be going forward also.
Shane, we've had 3 or 4 years now, but the early signing period, from your opinion, is it working? Is it doing what it was intended to do when it was put in place?
I think so. I mean, if you're asking my opinion of it, I love it. And I don't know if every coach feels that way, but I do. I mean, I wouldn't be against an earlier signing period in August. I mean, if there was a young man that knew exactly where he wanted to go and he wanted to sign in August, so be it. It's certainly a little bit tough right now for sure because you have everything going on with coaching changes and things like that, and you've got coaches leaving schools and coaches getting fired and things like that, and young men that maybe have been committed to that school for a long time, that gets blown up. It's the young men that signed here last year. They went through it last season. I mean, I came in, I didn't know any of them, and they didn't know me, and they all signed. So from that standpoint, it can be tough. Looking at it from my standpoint, I like it just because beforehand, without the early signing period, I don't want to use the word, managing, but January you were going to see a young man that was committed to you every single week in January. And that's great going to see them, but they were tired of people coming to visit them, talking about the prospects. They were tired of schools calling them. They knew where they were going and they were done with the process, but unfortunately you recruit right up until signing day. So I think it's great for those young men that know exactly where they want to go. They can sign in December and they're done with it, and they can get on with whatever they want to get on with. And then if a guy's not ready to sign, then they can wait. And a lot of the young men that I'm talking about, part of coaching changes right now where they were committed and things like that. We've had a lot of conversations with recruits that we're recruiting that initially were going to sign in December that now aren't. They're going to wait till February and just kind of see what happens, which, certainly respect that and understand that. But I like it from the sense that if a guy knows where he's wants to go, sign, get it over with, and then we're allowed to, we can go other places and continue to recruit other people as well.
From a transfer portal standpoint, I don't know if you can really quantify it, but how much of the last week in recruiting has been high school recruiting versus transfer portal? And do you have a number in mind in terms of how many guys you think you're going to need from the transfer portal, and what positions may be of most importance?
Yeah, percentage-wise, I'd say the bulk of it has been high school recruiting, but there's been quite a bit on evaluating the portal as well. I mean, I think just you guys probably know better than I do. I think Monday alone, there were like 200 players that went into the portal just on Monday alone last week. So trying to keep up with everybody is a little bit of a challenge. It's the tough thing. You asked a question. The one tough thing about the early signing period is there is a small window to get out and see a lot of players that you need to see. And I'm not happy that we weren't in Atlanta yesterday playing in that game, but it makes it easier to recruit because I got a full week of recruiting that for the last 4 seasons I didn't get because I was coaching in a championship game and you lost a week of recruiting. And I just know how challenging that was for Kirby and Lincoln those years where you play in a championship game and then you literally got 1 week to go see everybody that you're trying to get to sign a week later. So for me, that's been kind of the priority, is going out and seeing all these committed guys, uncommitted guys, getting to as many of them as I can last week and this week. But certainly the portal adds a different element to it. I mean, I was out and about recruiting last week, and it was publicized that we had someone here on a visit, last week. So you're balancing trips out of town, hosting a visitor, and all that. So that makes it challenging. As far as numbers, we're kind of flexible right now because a lot of that depends on the players on our team. And there's some guys on our team that certainly have decisions to make in regards to their future, whether it be the NFL, staying, whatever it might be. So when those guys make those decisions as we get down the road here a little bit, that'll, I think, really clearly define the number that we'll be working off of from that standpoint. But we're at a point right now, I mean, we're not going to turn down a great player at any position. We'll find a way to make the numbers work for sure.
Shane, piggybacking off that question, I know you've said it since day one, and you probably have said, one of the core principles of this program is competition. You probably said it every week. With that being said, with the transfer portal, I mean, are those conversations that you have to have with the team, whether go back in August, getting into the offseason when you have your exit interview meetings with these players that, hey, look, competition's big, but at the same time, too, we're going to go out there and try to make this team better. And if there's a guy out there we can find, we're going to bring him in.
Yeah, it is. I think our guys know that my job as the head coach is to do whatever I have to do to make this football team better, without a doubt. And that's every position. My job to increase the depth and the level of talent at every single position. And those are certainly conversations, as we get farther down the line with guys that we'll have. It's nothing that I've addressed with people, specifically. There will be some conversations that I'll have with certain positions if we end up going that route in the transfer world. But I think our guys know that. I know they know that my job is to do what's best for this football team to make us better. I think our players, as them being competitors, they want me, to do that. And I would hope they know, and I'll express it to them again. Like, guy may be a great player, but if he's not a fit for what we're trying to do here at Carolina, I'm not going to bring him in here. I don't care how good a player he is. So you got to make sure you're bringing the right. We're not just, I think it's Bill Belichick. You probably know it. It's not collecting talent. It's building a team, and it's so true. I mean, we're not just trying to grab the best players here and there, and all of a sudden here's the 2021 or 2022 Gamecocks. Let's build the best team we can by bringing in high character guys to our program. All good. Thanks for coming up on a Sunday night. Have a great week.